Hi everybody! This video is a tutorial on getting started with Looker embedding and signed URLs. I will show how to implement private embedding, as well as the 3 different ways to generate signed URLs for seamless content integration. For this tutorial, you will need admin access to your Looker instance. As you already know, Looker is a super composable platform. It allows for embedding different pieces of content into external data products, such as a web page or web application. Embedding basically works in 3 different ways. Public embedding, which is not available for dashboards but only for looks, private embedding, and signed embedding. With the public embedding option, whoever visits the page can retrieve Looker content. Therefore, this is only relevant for a few specific edge use cases. With private embedding, whenever a user visits a page holding Looker content, they first need to authenticate into their user profile. We'll see an example of this in a second. With signed embedding, user management is handled in the background by Looker. When a user accesses a web page holding Looker content, a user object is either generated or updated, and the content is retrieved on behalf of that user. Let's jump into a demo of private embedding. Today, we are aiming to embed this simple demo dashboard into another HTML page. To private embed this, I navigate to the 3-dot menu and select Get Embed URL. I can potentially I've pasted the link into a simple HTML editor. I also appended the parameter allow login screen equals true. The experience an end user would have is being prompted with an authentication screen where they use their own credentials to sign in to the Looker application. Once signed in, the user can retrieve the Looker content. This content can be a dashboard, a look, the Explore page, or the Conversational Analytics interface. Now let's shift gears and talk about signed embedding. Signed embed is a way to seamlessly integrate Looker content into your web application. The user doesn't need to sign in a separate time. Instead, Looker handles the authentication in the background using a signed URL. So, what is a signed URL? A Looker signed URL looks like this. It is a URL holding information about the Looker instance, the host, and the content path, but also specific parameters for the user, their ID, name, permissions, attributes, and model sets. Ultimately, this URL is signed with a signature. The signature is generated by a shared secret known only by the Looker instance and your web server. This makes the URL secure. No one can change the parameters without making the URL invalid. Since it includes a session nonce, the URL is only valid once. Upon executing this signed URL, Looker automatically recognizes the call, generates or updates a user, and retrieves the content on their behalf. There are 3 ways in Looker to generate a signed URL: via the Looker UI, scripting it using the Embed Secret, or using an API call. Let's look at each of the options. First, generating a URL via the UI. Again, we go to the 3-dot menu, select Get Embed URL, and this time we check the Signed Embed tab. After potentially adding a theme, we input the user information which flows into the parameters. I've filled this template with an external user ID, name, and permissions. Now I generate and copy the URL. Before using it, notice in the Users menu under the Embed Users tab, there is no user created yet. Now I paste the URL into an empty HTML editor in an incognito tab. You'll see that I can retrieve the dashboard without further authentication. Back in the Users menu, you can see the user was automatically created in the background. Keep in mind, changing any parameters, like changing the name from Michael to Francesco, will break the signature and make the URL invalid.
As a next step, let's script the URL. To do this, I'm using a demo application. In order to script the URL within this app, I first need to provide an embed secret, which I can retrieve from my Looker instance.
To find it, Navigate to the Admin section. Go to Embed, and under the UI settings, scroll to the bottom. You will see a field called Embed Secret. Let's reset the secret and generate a new one. With this secret, you can generate signed URLs and grant access to the instance. Therefore, the secret is a very powerful key. Keep it secure and never share it.
Now I am copying this secret into my demo application. Along with the secret, I already provided the host, the embed path, the necessary permissions, and the model that the dashboard is based on. Once I save this configuration, the application uses the secret to create a signed URL, which you can see on the right-hand side.
Let's copy that and switch back to our live HTML editor. By pasting the new signed URL here, you'll see the same seamless results as before. We can retrieve Looker content instantly without any further authentication. And again, checking the Embed Users tab in the Users menu, you can see a new user has been automatically generated. Finally, let's use the Looker API. I'm using the API Explorer extension from the marketplace. I'll use the Create Signed Embed URL endpoint. By sending a post request with the user details in the body, I can retrieve a signed URL without ever sharing the actual embed secret with the client. In the meantime, I have updated the body of my request. I've added the target URL path, an external user ID, and the first and last name for the user. I also included specific permissions and the model sets they should have access to. Let's run this post request now. From the response, I will copy the generated URL. Finally, I paste it into our live HTML editor. As you can see, we are able to retrieve the dashboard without further ado. Again, a new user is immediately created in the Embed Users section. In this video, we've explored the fundamentals of Looker embedding, covering everything from basic private embeds to the technical implementation of secure signed URLs. Thanks for watching. I recommend continuing with the next videos in this series to accelerate your Looker journey. If you have any feedback on this video, please scan the QR code to fill out a short form. Your input helps us improve future content.